full of stories. He is quite a guy. Sit around the campfire and hear him tell his tale. Some may be able to relate to him quite well. We're all just people looking for a place to go. Well, Sty has made one, and it is quite a show. Come meet Sty. He's quite the guy. If you're feeling lonely, come and make a friend. If you need a story, on Sty you can depend. His voice is soothing like a lullaby. Sometimes he brings a tear to my eye. Sit around the campfire and hear him tell his tale. Some may be able to relate to him quite well. We're all just people looking for a place to go. Well, Sty has made one, and it is quite a show. Come meet Sty. He's quite the guy.
Well, good evening, folks. Hey. Welcome to Sty Story Sunday. Yeah, another week went by. Oh, boy. And here we go into another one. Yep, week after week. It's great to see all you folks out in the chat. Nice and early. Everybody out there saying hi to each other right away. First one that showed up was Kathy. Kathy Gahan, babes, said she'd be back, and she is. And then Sheba B, Laurie, there, great to see ya. Yeah, she thinks this one should be a good one, this Sty Story. I hope you enjoy it. And there's Kimberly Ferris. Oh, it's good to see you, Kimberly. And Dean, the dancing machine. Good to see you, Dean. Who else we got? Justin Anderson showed up. He's out in the chat. Hey, Justin. Yep. Ben Kroll's in the house. Good to see you, Ben. And there's King Bluto. Yeah, awesome. Good to see you, King Bluto. I like it. Throw a couple of tents up. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, Ben says, no, it's Dean, the flying washing machine. Oh, boy. I've had a couple of washing machines that I thought were going to take off and fly on me. Get that uneven load in there. Washing machine doing the dance in the laundry room. Yeah, thinking it's going to take off and go right through the roof. Yep. Oh, Kathy, you don't have to do that, girl. That is so kind of you. You're a sweetheart. Watch for your mail here this coming week, Kathy. I took care of that card issue in a different way. You'll see when you get your letter. Okay? Yeah, you'll like it. Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, I had a couple of bad days this week. And then I had a really good day. And then yesterday, oh my gosh. It was a good day, but I did something I usually don't do. I took a nap. I don't take naps, man. And I took a nap, 2-hour nap. That ain't no nap, man. That's like a night's sleep, man. 2 hours. And I took it in the evening. Guess what time I went to bed? 8 o'clock this morning. And I managed to sleep for a couple more hours. That's crazy. Why? I was on PlayStation all night. My boy Running Water and me, we were playing Saints Row number 4. And we just can't get off it. And I got Horizons, the new one. I got, what else did I get? Oh, I got a railroad simulator game, and been playing PlayStation for a couple of days because we had such nasty weather here. Terrible, nasty weather. Yeah, Dean, those power naps are good sometimes. Yeah, they are. Kathy, I'm glad you like the sticker. I'm throwing the next. There's an extra one in this letter that's going out to you. So, yeah. So the fact your son took one home, you still have 2 because I'm sending you another one. Yeah. Hey, JCT, it's great to see you. Awesome. Awesome. JCT. So many of you, I wish I lived closer. I'd love to sit and have a cup of coffee with you and chat. One-on-one kind of visits. I love these chats. I love these chats. Always have, always will. But when I meet YouTube acquaintances in person and I can sit and just have coffee and we just talk, it is so rewarding. It is so fun. So fun. That's one thing. I'm hoping this summer I can encourage a couple of folks, come and visit me here at my new home where I live. Stop on in and see me, and maybe I'll even be able to get out and go visit some folks that are pretty close within driving distance. With the fuel prices the way they're going, I'll be pretty limited in distance, so I'm not going to be taking very long trips. Hey, Rambling Hick, good to see you. Thanks for stopping in for Sty Story Sunday. It's great to see you. Great to see you. This is a good time, folks. Share it on out. Let the whole world know we're hanging out over here at the Sty Shack on Sty Story Sunday. Just thinking of the name, Rambling Hick. The Sty Story tonight. Yeah, good old-fashioned redneck story about a fella and a car he bought from me. Yeah. Yeah. I'm doing pretty good there, Rambling Hick. I'm doing pretty good. I hope you're doing as well, if not better than me. Yeah. I'm enjoying a cup of coffee. I haven't had coffee today, which is really strange for me. I usually have to have my coffee throughout the whole day, And because I didn't get much sleep last night, I thought, well, I want to just cut back on the coffee for the day and maybe get a good night's sleep tonight. I don't know if that's going to work or not. Justin Anderson said $4.79 for diesel today. It was $3.69 Thursday. Oh, yeah, ours is up there too. Regular gasoline was $3.89 yesterday. $3.89. 2 stations, it was $4.06 a gallon. Ingalls family just popped into the chat there. Oops, there we go. Hey, hello. Good to see ya. Yeah, we had an ice storm yesterday and part of this morning. Bad. Man, yesterday was nasty. I got up. Running water tells me, he goes, "You still want to run in town to the store?" I said, Yeah. And he said, "It's bad out there." He said the whole dang town, they got travel warnings because it's so icy. Um, and I told him, I said, "I'm good. I'm up for it, you know." Um, Ramblin' Hick, I'm from northern Wisconsin. I'm just oh, about 4 city blocks off of Lake Superior. But yesterday morning when we got up, everything had a quarter inch thick of ice on everything. Trees, on top of all the snow, steps, sidewalks, vehicles, everything was coated. And it was still damp in the air. I fell on my butt and we went out to the truck. Hit the ground, both legs right underneath the back end of the truck, and I couldn't get back up. Could not get my feet to grab anything. No traction whatsoever. Got them both underneath me, and I got up, and I thought I was okay. Now all I got to do is stand straight up. No, as soon as you started lifting yourself off the ground, your feet were gone. Boom, back on the ground. Bang my right arm up. Hurts like that devil. Can't straighten it out. That's it. That's as far as I can't straighten it out flat. My elbow stops right there. It's all banged up. I had to put both feet against the back tire of the truck, grab the fender of the truck, and stand myself up. Then I slid my feet to the door. It was bad. It was bad. So overnight, it just got worse. And this morning, it started to sleep. While it was late last night, we heard it starting to sleep. Just pebbles. And they were more like tiny little hail. Well, we got about an inch and a half of that. So now everything's got this rough, crusty surface on it. And there's about a ½ inch of ice on everything, the trees, everything. But it's that crusty stuff. So Justin said his firewood pile looked like it got clear coated this morning. Yeah. That's the way everything around here looked. It looked like it was coated in glass. Okay, right next door. Yeah. What's next door? The UP, Minnesota? I mean, either direction. Beautiful country. I didn't need smokes. In fact, that was funny. Running water needed smokes. That's really why he wanted to go. But I took advantage of it. We went to Walmart and surprised myself. I bought some new sweatpants, and I really went out on a limb. They're almost $20 a piece for a pair of sweatpants, for crying out loud. So I got a couple pairs of sweatpants, but I went out on a limb. I got smalls, 30 waist. You can't get nothing under 30 waist in the men's department. I grabbed 2 pairs. Scared to death that, I'll get home, try them on. They ain't going to fit. No way. But I'm wearing a loose 32 right now, and I thought they might. They fit like $1 million. They fit like I had to get them because my other sweatpants were larges, and I got them bound up so tight at the waist just to keep them on. Now they didn't have any camo, but now I'm going to order some online now that I know what size for sure to go with. But doggone smalls. I could have got these out of the boys department, for Christ's sake. That's how much weight I've lost. And they're the right length, and they fit perfect at the waist, and they're loose. They're nice and loose, the way you like sweatpants, comfy, that you can move around in. But that shocked the hell out of me. But yeah, running water needed smokes. And we walked into the store we get our smokes at. Both him and I get our smokes there. Walk in. I asked them for a carton of mine, and they open the rack and they go, "They're all gone. There aren't any." I laughed. I said, "I'll come back next week." I said, "I don't need them till next Thursday at the soonest," because I had picked a couple cartons up last time I had bought them. So I have plenty of smokes here at home. I just thought I'll get an extra carton and have it on hand, being that we're there. Running water, she was looking for mine, and we happened to see they had 2 cartons of the kind he smokes, so he was happy. He was able to get his smokes. Yeah, I wish I could gain some weight back, but I don't have my hopes up. I don't have my hopes up at all. I try. I really do. I made a huge pot of chili. Awesome. It turned out awesome. Tasted it. It's all perfect. Made a small little bowl. 2 spoons of chili is all I could get down. So, heard there's a shortage of Swisher Sweets wood-tipped cigars. Huh. I don't know. Yeah. I don't. Years ago I used to smoke them, but I don't. Not anymore. So I wouldn't know. Yeah, I smoke these little cigars that they're made like a cigarette. They got a cigarette filter on them. They're still pretty strong, and they're mentholated too. So people say, "Hey, Sty, bum me a smoke." Yeah, okay. And I'll tell them flat out, it'll probably be the last one you ever bum off of me. They light one of them up and they go, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa." Never again. No, if I ask for one, don't give it to me. Okay. Yeah, I used to be smokeless tobacco years ago. I gave it up. The ex-wife didn't like it. Plus, I was driving truck, and I had a bad habit of spitting out the window, and you could tell down the side of that truck. Oops. Yeah, no smokeless tobacco. Not anymore. Yeah, I got my boy home for a couple more days. I got tomorrow night. I've got Sty Times tomorrow night. Then I've got Tuesday off, which is good because running water, and I'll spend all day together Tuesday. We'll figure something out to do for the day because he goes back out on the road Wednesday morning, bright and early. So, and then I won't see him again for probably about 3 months. So, and again, he treated his pop like $1 million while he was at home. Did way more than he should have. I keep telling him, "Don't worry about nothing. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about the house." Oh no, yeah, he's always wants to do something for somebody else. Turned out to be the kind of person I was hoping he would be. Yeah. Justin says, "Have you ever had thyroid check?" My dad had similar issues with eating. Ended up being his thyroid was out of whack. My issue is the act of chewing at all or swallowing anything solid triggers my saliva glands, and I end up filling with fluid instead of food. My stomach and my throat ends up filling with fluids, clear fluid. it's considered hypersensitive glands, and they're still trying to figure out what's causing it. I don't know if she checked my thyroid or not. I mean, I went through a whole gamut of tests a couple months ago that were just insane. Geez, I'd say they took a half a gallon of blood out of me just for the blood test. They had me in there like 4 times each time I was in there. Twice they took 6 vials, and the other couple of times they took 9 vials of blood. It doesn't matter if it's through a straw or not. I do eat a lot of cream type soups. Anything that's real fatty, if I can get it into a soup that I can sip. But with a straw, I tried with the straw. Sucking on that straw triggers it. If I sip it, if I can just pour a little in my mouth, and then just almost naturally kind of swallow it. If I take a drink of it and swallow it like I was drinking a glass of water, that will kick it in, and it causes a lot of trouble. So that's something that's tough for me too, is I drink a lot of bottled water with flavoring in it, flavored water. But those bottles of water, I got to sip them. And I managed to get a couple, 2, 3 bottles of water a day in me. And then I sip on the equivalent of about 3 to 4 cups of soup a day. And I can eat Townhouse crackers or Ritz crackers. I can eat those rarely do I have an issue. And it's weird. Oh, look at here, James. Good to see you. James Gipes there. Great to see you. Awesome, buddy. Yeah, Justin said this. You get similar issues from spicy foods and chewy foods. Yeah, to me, it doesn't matter if it's spicy or it doesn't even have to be chewy. It just has to be any kind of solid form. I can end up with a choking issue just eating pudding, just eating even vanilla pudding. Yeah, or Jell-O. A spoonful of Jell-O. I can eat about 2 of them if I put a full spoonful of Jell-O in my mouth, and just a little bit of chewing you do to move it around and let it melt and swallow. It'll trigger my saliva glands, and they go mad. Yeah. Yeah, it's too bad they don't have a pill for that. They do for everything else. You're right. You're absolutely right. And that's for me a bummer too, is I have some pills I have to take because of my heart condition and my diabetes. Well, the diabetic pill's a big old horse pill. I mean, that thing's huge. That's a bugger, man, to swallow every morning and every night. Yeah, it's kind of tough to get them down. And the other pills are small, but I don't want to take them one at a time. So I throw 4 in my mouth and down they go. But it's like everything else through my whole life. You might not like it, but with time you get used to it. It becomes habit. That's where I'm at now. It's my routine. It's habit. And it's like I was saying the other night on one of the streams. I wish I had folks locally that would like to come and hang out once in a while. I'd grill for them this summer, man. I'd fire up the grill and make burgers, steaks, whatever. Just so they could eat, because because I love to grill. I love to barbecue. I love to cook over the open fire, but I can't eat it. But if I could cook it for someone else, that'd be fun. I would enjoy that. I would enjoy that. Yeah, Justin says, I'd take that pill. I miss eating buffalo wings. Yeah, that's it. Man, if there was a pill. I was telling my son today he had a plate with homemade burritos smothered in taco sauce and sour cream. I go, oh my God, if I could eat again, oh my God, I'd be right with him. I'd be right with him. Last night he had this big bowl of Chinese fried rice and a sweet and sour kind of little bit spicy chicken right on top of that big pile of fried rice, and he's chowing that down, and I'm watching him. I'm like, oh my God, if I only could. If I could eat that, I would be in heaven. I'd be in heaven. Yeah. Because I've always loved to eat, boy. Shovel it in, chow down. That's one weird thing. One thing I can eat, once in a while, it'll trigger my condition, but not often. Ice cream cones. Those drumstick kind of ice cream cones, as long as it doesn't have crushed nuts on it, it can have, like the texture dip over the cone. But if it's got peanuts, crushed peanuts on it, that'll trigger it. But without the peanuts, it don't seem to bother me. The chocolate on the outside of the cone or the cone itself, I can eat those. So oddly enough, I eat 2 ice cream cones a day, man. Every evening after the stream tonight, I'll have a couple of ice cream cones before I call it a night because I can eat those. And everybody likes ice cream, But weird, if I have a bowl of ice cream and I'm spooning it in, I have trouble eating it. But I don't if I eat the ice cream cone. Kathy says, love those. Yeah, drumsticks are awesome, man. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Those French ones, Deleuze or whatever. They're like a caramel. They're dipped, cones with a caramel kind of center in them. And, oh my gosh. Yeah. I like the chocolate fudge with the chocolate cone dipped in chocolate. Oh God, those taste good. I love them. Yeah, I love to eat. I watch Mojo over on Grilling and Chilling with Mojo, and he made a calzone yesterday, and DQ dilly bars. No kidding, Justin. I buy the heck out of them in the summer. I will be getting some soon. I've been thinking about them. Yeah. And I like them all. In the order of favorites: cherry, butterscotch, chocolate, and the mint ones when they have them. But in that order, I like the cherry the best. I like my DQ dilly bars. My son worked for the owner of our DQ here in town. He worked for him for 19 years. Not at the Dairy Queen, at our other restaurant. But so I know the owner of the DQ, and all of his staff there, they kind of know who I am. When they see me walking up, they'll just ask me, do you want a mixture or do you want just cherry? They don't even ask how many because they know I'm getting a dozen. Give me 2 6-packs. Bring them home, throw them in the freezer. Yeah. And our Dairy Queen's not a brazier. They don't fix hot foods at all, But they, our Dairy Queen's open year round, all year. Yeah, pretty cool. What's my favorite ice cream? I'd have to say I think my favorite lately has been the peanut butter cup ice cream. You know, there used to be one that was a Reese's, and I don't remember the name of it. My youngest boy remembers it, and he's been looking, trying to figure out whatever happened to it because it's not available anymore. And I think it was Kemp's that made it. But it was a Reese's ice cream that had the broke up peanut butter cups in it, but the ice cream itself was peanut butter flavored. That one was to die for. That was great. Oh, yeah, your local. See, that's it, is the next town up. When we lived in that town, our Dairy Queen there was closed throughout the winter. They would open up in April, sometime mid-April. Yeah. Weren't used to having a Dairy Queen close by that was open year-round. In fact, that town, they lost their Dairy Queen. They're shut down. Medical cannabis might help me. I don't know that it would. I don't know. I've looked, Dean. I've actually looked. I don't find anything anywhere where cannabis would treat that type of condition. Nothing. And I'm not taking anybody's word for it, is the thing. If cannabis works for that kind of condition, there's going to be something in writing somewhere that I can use as a basis to make a determination. Kathy's Dairy Queen is year-round too. So it's that time. We're a half hour into the show. It's that time for me to do the Sty Story, guys. So let's get tonight's Sty Story done and out of the way, hey? Yeah, let's do that. So here's the story for the night, the title of which is Your Car is Melting. Okay, this is back in the 70s, right? I'd say 1976, right around there. I had this old I think it was a 1965 Plymouth Valiant. It's an ugly car. It was an ugly Plymouth car. It was a four-door and a sedan, but more of a compact sedan. And I hate to say it, but the car was just downright ugly. I think it was ugly when it was brand new. I bought it used, but it had to have been ugly new. Well, the color of it was one of the ugly parts. It was almost like a pastel blue, and it had gotten rusty. Minnesota car, it had gotten rusty. It was just rough looking and nasty looking, but it ran so good. That car ran so good. Dependable, man. Jump in that car, hit the key, fire right up, boy. That car ran so good. But it had some issues with it. The suspension was bad, needed shocks all the way around. Front wheel bearings were bad on it. You could hear the dang wheel bearings growling on it. And I just didn't want to drive it until I got new wheel bearings on it. And it needed brakes. And it just, it's one of those cars where if I were to fix all the little things wrong with it, it would cost me as much as it would to replace the dang motor in it. But it ran so good. And I just kept thinking, someday I'll get around to putting those parts into it. Someday never came. An old buddy of mine that I grew up with, guy I grew up with, him and his brother, he showed up one day and he says, "Hey, Sty, you wouldn't want to sell that old Plymouth you got parked out there, would you?" And I said, I don't know. I said, I hate to let it go. It's so doggone, it runs so good. It's ugly, it's sin, but it's dependable. If something happens in my other vehicles, it's like I got a spare car, you know. Oh, come on, sell it to me. Well, I caved in. I sold it to him dirt cheap, $150. I think I paid $600 for it, but I drove it for 3 years. Sold it to him for $150 because I knew he'd have to stick a bunch of money into brakes and suspension and other things. So he gave me the $150, took the car. Now, my buddy, mind you, we were pretty young yet. I had just been married, you know, and I figured he'll do some repairs on it and he'll use it as a work car, go back and forth to work with it or whatever. Well, someone called me and said, I'd swear it's your old Plymouth, and if that's not you, whoever's doing what they're doing with it, it's not good. And I said, well, what's that? They said it was driving down the railroad tracks. Right down the railroad tracks. Boom, 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 down the railroad tracks. And then it turned, took off through the woods. It was knocking little trees over and crap. And the car's driving all around town, off-road. And I said, you got to be kidding. They said, no. I said, well, I sold that car. I didn't tell them to who. And they said, plus the thing looks worse than it did when you owned it. That's why I didn't think it was yours anymore. I said, why? What's it look like? And they said, it's kind of a rusty red color. The whole thing's been painted some rusty red color. It's really nasty looking. And it's got a big white 01, OT1 on each door, like it's a race car, but it's just an ugly, looks like a demo derby car. Well, I told him I'll keep my eyes open. Sure enough, my buddy down the street, here he had painted the car. And I walked over to his place and I seen that car sitting in his yard and I couldn't believe it. It was ugly, boy. It's this weird kind of rusty red color, and it's got a big 01 on each door, the driver's door, passenger door. And I walked in the yard, and he come out of the house. I said, look at that thing, eh? He goes, yeah, ain't that cool? Ain't that neat? I said, no, it ain't. It's ugly. I said, boy, that's nasty looking. And I got closer to it, and I go, my God, man, how did you paint that? He goes, with a roller and a brush, just like you paint the house. I go, you did. You hand painted that with a brush. He goes, yeah. And I said, look at it. It's got big runs in it. It's got brush marks. He says the hood and the trunk look pretty good where we used the paint roller. And I got up close to it and I go, what kind of paint did you use on it? He said, some old latex paint that my dad had in his garage there. He says, it froze up last winter. My dad said, that paint's no good for nothing. You got to throw it out. And he said, I didn't throw it out. Heck, I painted the car with it. He did. Painted that whole doggone car that way. Now, he painted everything, even the chrome, the bumpers, the chrome handles on the doors. Everything got painted that color, except the glass. Well, the thing was nasty. It was just nasty. I asked him if he got the brakes fixed. He said, well, I got the back brakes fixed, but not the front brakes. Well, that's dumb. He says, the front brakes, I pinched off the lines. They don't work at all. So here he's running around in that car, and you could tell he didn't put shocks in it. Rear springs in the car should have been replaced. Things sagging in the tail end, and it looks rough. It looks rough, and it's got real knobby snow tires, all four of them. It's because he's driving it off road, and so one day, it was funny. It was funny. We got this main drag that runs through town. Big, long, it's about 3-4 miles long, main drag. And there's no stoplights or stop signs on that main drag. And along that main drag, we have an A&W drive-in restaurant, right? Regular drive-in. And back then, boy, everybody, all of us young folk, hung out at the A&W. Well, me and the ex-wife, my rig at the time was a 1964 Chevy El Camino, pretty well hot rodded out. I mean, it was a lot of people liked that rig. It was fast. It was hot. You know, I could light them up and just sit there until the tires blew on that thing. And I loved that El Camino. She was sweet. And we're out cruising, the ex-wife and I. We're just out cruising, showing off. You know, hot rodders are all out. And it started to rain. And it's just downpouring, thunderstorms, just downpouring. And we thought, hey, let's head for the A&W. We'll park under the canopy. And we'll hang out there until the storm blows by. So we head for the A&W. As we go past the front of the A&W, we're going down to their second entrance and coming around. As we're going past the A&W, I see that old Plymouth of mine parked, but it's parked out. It's not underneath their canopy. It's parked out at one of the other stations that are out in the open. And it's kind of a downhill slope out of that A&W to the main street. Out in front of that A&W is this huge puddle that's probably about 6 inches deep of water, except that puddle is this nasty look. It looked like a pool of blood. It was this nasty, rusty red color. And it stood out like a sore thumb. I mean, it was just like, oh my gosh. It looked like a giant pool of blood out front of the A&W. As we went by, my ex-wife goes, Sty, look at your old car. And I turned and I looked, and you could see the red stream coming from that car down the drive, across the curb, and out into that puddle on the street, into that big puddle. The rain was washing the paint off of that car. We whipped into that A&W, parked under the canopy, and we waited till the storm stopped and it quit. It was just, just drops of rain here and there. And I walked over to Harold, the guy that bought the car. Walked over, knocked on the window. He rolled the window down. And I said, have you noticed? He goes, notice what? And I said, look out on the street, that big old red puddle there. And he goes, yeah, ain't that weird? That's weird. We were wondering about that because the parking lot across from it has a big puddle, and that's not red, but that one is. I said, you don't know where it's coming from? He says, no, why would I know? I said, it's you. Your car's melting. He goes, what do you mean it's melting? I said, that's from your car. You can see it out here. If you get out of your car and look. He got out and looked, and all around his car and in a line right out to the street is all this red fluid running out. He rubs his finger across the fender of his car, comes back just red, soft, gooky. Well, that I see in the chat, just our Dean is saying, oh no, latex paint. Yeah, and it had been frozen, so the paint was bad. It never cured, never properly dried, and it was dissolving in the rain. His whole car was melting. By the time he left the NW that day, he had big, on top of all the fenders, the hood, the roof, big patches of blue, of pastel blue, of what the car used to look like. And his 01 on each door just running off. The 01 he had painted on with a spray can, but the paint under it was the same old crappy latex. So the zeros and the ones were running down the doors. It looked like the whole car was bleeding to death. I never laughed so darn hard in my life. This boy's car was melting on him right there in the parking lot. He never did repaint it, never did. And he drove that thing around for the longest time. And the doggone paint kept coming off that car, coming off that car. Every time it rained, it got worse. And he was driving it off road through brush and stuff all the time. And that was rubbing paint off the sides. And it got so nasty looking that finally he quit driving it where he's not supposed to and started driving a little more cautious because he stood out like a sore thumb. If he did something he wasn't supposed to, people just call the cops and say, hey, we're looking, you should be looking for that bleeding car, that car that's melting. That, yeah, because that kid, that he just drove through the town park with it. So he had to behave himself because his car stood out so much. There's no doubt if it was him. But that's it. That's it. That's a case of the melting car. Old Harold thought he was getting off cheap, going to paint his car with his papa's bad latex house paint. And paint was never intended for that kind of purpose to start with. And the fact that it had been frozen at one time and had really gone bad, and he's using it for his car paint. Not a good idea. Not a good idea. So if you don't want your car to melt, don't paint it with latex house paint. It just doesn't seem to work so good. So there you go. There's the case of the melting car. Yeah. Your car is melting. Sure is. Sure is. So, yeah. So let's take a look at anybody chatting out there. Justin said my cousin bought a truck that's brush painted. He thought it was a gem. Now I did see a truck myself that was brush painted by hand, all camo, and that the person that painted it was a gal that's a true artist. Boy, she's a true artist. And her camo paint job on that truck turned out just awesome. But you could see brushstroke, in certain parts of it, things she painted. You could see a brushstroke here and there. Her boyfriend, he worked for a body shop. He hauled her truck in and clear coated the whole thing. So the paint wouldn't be damaged because of the uneven, unsmooth surface. He clear coated that whole truck. And once he clear coated it, it made it really look unique and nice. It actually looked good. But she used automotive grade paints when she painted it. So it was a whole different ball game. Yeah. APV on a melting car northbound going 80 miles an hour. That would have been funnier than heck, man. Him going down the interstate somewhere, a big old red stream. Called the cops, say just follow the red trail, Hey, Mr. Fulton. Today is National Oreo cookie day. To me, there's only one Oreo cookie there, Mr. Fulton. Just a standard old-fashioned Oreo cookie. When I was a kid, we used to always be told, don't look at the name on it. It's just a name. It doesn't matter if it's Hydrox or if it's Oreo. And in quite a few ways, they were pretty right about that. A Hydrox cookie was not but an Oreo that didn't look like an Oreo. Shaped like one, but didn't say Oreo on it or nothing, Yeah. Yeah, Justin, with the camo, it worked out good. And Chuck says we painted a couple with a brush, but it was a pre-sale thing. Yep. I knew a guy that was bad, dude. It got to the point he couldn't sell anything. Nobody buy anything from him anymore. But I don't remember what engine it was he did it to. But he took 2 cylinders out of a V8. He got that dang thing to run smooth with 2 cylinders. Dead cylinders in it, right? Now, this is no kidding. He cut the valve stems off on it, welded the valve stems into the head on those 2 jugs. The cylinders were scored and shot. You couldn't put a fresh set of, and you couldn't bore them out. They were scored that bad. And instead of tossing the engine, he took the heads off, welded those valves shut, and he cut the valve stems. So they were short. They're not even riding on the cams anymore, on the rockers. Well, and then he just pulled the rod and piston out of both of those cylinders, fired it up, and it ran on 6 cylinders, and it ran just smooth enough that you thought, a little bit of a miss, just maybe it needs a tune-up. And he sold that. It was a pickup truck. And he sold that pickup truck to someone. Here it's got 2 dead cylinders in it. Totally dead. There's no pistons in them, nothing. And they're not losing oil because the valves, both the exhaust and the intake valves, are welded shut on it. On both heads. So there's no way for the oil to escape. There's no piston rod, no piston in either jug. And it ran pretty doggone smooth. It seemed to have pretty good power, but not the power it should. And he sold the truck at a pretty reasonable price. And the guy took it in to have a tune-up done on it. And they told him, you got 2 cylinders that don't even have spark plug wires attached to them. He goes, why? And they said, we don't understand it because the wires aren't even there. They don't even come from the cap to the cylinder. The wire's gone. So there you go. It was a 6-cylinder, not an 8-cylinder. The guy was lying when he sold the dang truck. It was, crafty people. Oh, they got Oreos and all. Yeah, I see them in the store. They got different kinds of fillings. They've got white ones and chocolate ones. And yeah, weirdness with the Oreos, yeah. Oh, yeah, Chuck says, in fairness, we sold them as derby cars, yeah. I had a really nice, I don't remember what year that was. It's like a 78, maybe. Lincoln Continental. sweet Lincoln Continental. It was white on white. It was full white body with the white tonneau roof on it, white leather interior. That was a sweet car. Boy, that was a sweet car. And we drove it for several years. I bought it for the wife. And finally decided we're going to get rid of it. And I figured I might get $1,000 for that car. It had a lot of miles on it. But it was in generally pretty solid shape. I had a local guy that I knew him as an acquaintance, and I never thought of it. He's an ice racer. He races the ice races we have here in Ashland. And, he showed up and said, I heard you're going to sell that Continental. I said, yeah. And he said, I want it. I said, what the heck do you want with that? He said, I'm going to make an ice racer out of it. He gave me $1,000 for it. And he made an ice racer out of it. And he came in, he placed second for the whole season, driving that stinking Lincoln Continental in those ice races, a big oval track. I was going to go down there today, but the roads are so nasty out here, I didn't want to go anywhere. Because I don't know for sure. We'll see what next weekend brings, but this Sunday, today, may have been their last ice race of the season. But Running Water and I are sitting in here this afternoon playing PlayStation, and we're wearing headsets because you couldn't stand the sound of the race cars 2 miles from us down at the lake, running the oval track down there. Doggone ice racing stock cars, Hey, Blake, it's great to see ya. I've been good, bud. I've been good, holding my own. I hope you're feeling okay. Yeah, they sure like buying the cars up here for the derbies, for the demo derbies, and for ice racing. They take their stock car racing a little too serious. They ain't gonna buy they're not gonna buy scrap iron for stock cars up here. Even for the 6-cylinder class, anything not non-modified, you'd think they'd buy up some of these old cars and trick them out for stock car, but nah, they're real picky. Hit 12 degrees today, and it's 4 right now. We're supposed to hit 37 degrees Fahrenheit on Tuesday. I'm good with that. I'm hoping it does, because then I'll take a dirt shovel out here to this sidewalk and dig through those snowbanks with a dirt shovel, because right now a snow shovel ain't going to do it. That's wet, heavy, icy crap that's freezing solid. The snowblower will never go through it. It'll just hit it, because it's that hard. You almost need a number 2 shovel to chisel it out. Blake says, feeling pumped. Taught my little niece to hit hand-pitch softball today. She's 4. Oh, that's fun. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, Justin, for our area, nothing shows that cold in the 20s. Nothing below 0 for our neck of the woods up here. Could be because of lake effect. Plus, we're not supposed to get any more precipitation, which I'm good with. Yeah, I don't want any more snow, rain, and ice kind of crap. No. No, it was bad enough here. They had to run the plows this morning. That's why the sidewalk is all plowed in. And running water was shocked as to how much they managed to push with the plow. But they plowed well enough that we were talking about it. We've got a storm drain in the street right out front of our house. And in the spring of the year, that's usually froze up and you end up with a huge lake of water out there. Not in the yard. Typically, it doesn't get as far as the sidewalk, but it's just deep out on the road, and you can't park on this side of the road because you get out and the water's over your ankles for crying out loud. So you go out there and you try to chisel out those big storm drains, and it's because the snow plow doesn't cut along the curb enough, and that gets compacted and it freezes there, and it takes forever for it to thaw out to drain. So running water will go out there and chisel that out so it'll drain. Well, he's got me here this year to take care of that. So, yeah. Justin says, hopefully ready for the 40 and 50 degree days. I'm hoping for them too. Kathy said they lost all the snow because it was nice and warm. That's what I want to see. I want to see the snow go away. I really do. I want to get out there and do some yard work. And I got a lot of tree trimming to do. God, I got almost a week's worth of just trimming trees around here. And yeah, the groundhog saw a shadow, said 6 more weeks of winter. Well, 2 weeks of that it's already been burned up. A couple weeks of it. Another month of winter. Well, that tells me that by April 1, this should be gone. This should all be gone. Yeah. Wow, Chuck, it's 62 degrees there. Oh my gosh. That's sweet. Yeah, I'm excited because my youngest boy left a Craftsman riding mower here. It's a nice one, nice mower. But he left it uncovered, just sitting out there in the weather. And it's been snowed in all winter. Well, come spring, I get that puppy. Now I got to get her up on a rack. And I'll do an oil change, tear that whole motor apart, clean everything. Almost like a full rebuild. And I'll have that sucker running like a brand new Craftsman before it's time to mow the first grass. And maybe I'll have enough of the yard taken care of. I'll be able to enjoy doing the lawn mowing on the rider. Yeah. Lori Sheba is saying that it's going to be 57 degrees tomorrow. And then the next day back down into the 30s. Yeah, see, that's the way it is here on Tuesday. Hit 37, then it's dropping back down in the mid-20s, low 20s for a few days. It's that time of year where it's boom, 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 boom. Temperatures up and down, up and down. Yeah, Blake catching up with everybody. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I put a couple new suet feeders out here on our porch, and we've got solar LED lights we're going to stuff in mason jars and hang from shepherd's hooks out in the yard. So at night, parts of the yard are lit up and look like fireflies in jars, kind of thing. And we're just going to make it nice and homey out here because Sty wants to spend his evening sitting out on that porch, man. on a big open air porch. We've got a new Wi-Fi booster that's going to be just sweet, man. I'll be able to run live streams right from the porch out here. Sit out on the porch and do a live stream like this. And, backyard around the campfire, the real thing, Because in the summer, as of May 1st, there won't be any more Sty times. Those 3 shows a week end May 1st, and then they start back up October 1st. So that gives me 3 extra nights a week, and I'll probably do random kind of around out on the porch with Sty or around the campfire exclusives with Sty kind of thing, Yeah, Dean, watching the bird feeders with a cup of coffee in the morning. That's cool, ain't it? Yeah. We're getting this room squared away, and I've got this tall table that's bar height, and it's got 2 bar height stools with it with backs. It's a nice breakfast kind of table. We're going to put it in our kitchen, and I don't think I want it in the kitchen. It's going to kind of clutter up the kitchen. But in front of this window, we don't have anything in front of the big picture window, and I can open those big curtains up. And I can see all the bird feeders hanging from the porch, and I can see the whole front yard. And we hardly get any traffic at all through here. It's maybe every half hour to an hour you see one vehicle go by. We're just kind of off the beaten path. So I can sit at that table in the mornings and have a cup of coffee and watch the bird feeders. And yeah, Justin, some sweet outdoor streams. Yeah. The reason we did that, we're boosting that Wi-Fi signal, is because we've got a shop out here too that Running Water and I are doing a lot to get it into working order, because my youngest boy, he stored a lot of big things in there, a cement mixer, his Harley Davidson, and other big pieces of equipment and tools and stuff, to the point, and he wasn't a good organizer, to the point where you can't do anything in there. You can't work in there. You can't do projects or anything. And Running Water he builds instruments, ukuleles, banjos, guitars, out of cigar boxes, Awesome instruments. But it's hard to do that in the house, the sawdust and the debris that goes with making those. So he built this nice, I think it's 12 by 22 feet, big shop. I use one little corner of it for my storage, and the rest of the shop's supposed to be wide open for Running Water's tools and equipment to do his woodworking hobbies, and for us to have automotive tool area and steelworking area. And it's not even usable right now. So we're fixing that this summer also. We're fixing that. And we thought we could be doing some live streams right from the shop, projects we're doing in the shop. That'd be fun. Yeah, Kathy, we'll straighten that out. Running Water's enjoying the house, Everything's in order compared to what he had before. And he got home. He wasn't even home just an hour or two. And he's in the kitchen doing something. And I go, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Taking pictures. I'm sending them to Kendra," which is his ex-honey. And I said, "Really?" And he goes, "Yeah." She said, "Oh boy, that looks awful organized, having your dad there." Yeah. Yeah, Dean, hanging at the Sty shaft. Yeah. I'm thinking it depends on my health again. But I'm thinking, get back into making hiking sticks. And now that I figured out through the post office how to ship them to people, I'm thinking, yeah, I might do that. Yeah, he's running water has been doing some things for me that really does say that he appreciates that I'm trying to keep his house in order for him. And I told him, don't worry about any mess, because any mess he can make in the 1 week that he's home, it'll take me not even half a day to undo it, to get it all right back where it was when he walked in the door. So I told him, I said, I want it so that every time he walks in the door, that's the same way he finds it. Oh yeah, he found out he had his food left, plus a lot more food. All the food I brought. My pantry was full, man, full of canned goods and everything. And it's like we made chili, like I said. The only thing I didn't have, and I couldn't believe it, was I had run out of chili seasoning to season the chili. Didn't have any cayenne pepper, didn't have nothing. And by chance, he had ordered a whole case of chili seasoning, and it came from Amazon the day I wanted to make chili. So we didn't have to run to the store for nothing. Everything was here. I had the sour cream here, had everything here. And whipped up a nice batch of chili for him. Like I said, I only had 2 spoons full. That's it. But he chowed down on it, And I got the containers. I dishing it up and freezing it, Yeah. I like having life kind of in order so that when you want something, you have it or not. And if you do have it, it's available and handy, that you don't have to dig and dig to try to find something that you might have. There's some things I let running water get for himself because I don't know how much to get it or anything. It's like his Mountain Dew. He drinks Mountain Dew like it's water. And he'll buy it by the 24 pack, I guess it is, the cubes. And he'll buy a cube a week. He drinks about a cube a week of Mountain Dew. And that's something I used to do. I loved my Mountain Dew, and I used to drink about a cube a week. And so I let him get that on his own. And last time he was home, he had 3/4 of a cube left. I think he had, out of the 24 cans, he had 20 cans left in that cube. And he was telling me, yeah, go ahead, drink it, whatever. I'm used to that. Every time I go on the road, I'd have a cube, maybe a cube and a half of Dew sitting there, and I'd come home and not a single can, and I'd have to go get some. He got home this trip, and all 20 cans are sitting right there waiting for him, and not one touch. No, I'm not drinking your Mountain Dew. If I decided I was going to have a Mountain Dew, when I'm out and about, I'll stop at the store, grab one. I'm not going to drink his. So it's here for him. Yeah, seasoning's getting a bit spendy. Yeah. That's one thing. We have a lot. We've got all the seasonings you could imagine for, cooking. Anything from frying, grilling, baking, actual baking, breads, cakes, blah, blah, blah. All those seasonings, we got them all. Tons of them. Enough to last, I would say it lasts a family of 6 for probably 2 years. Enough seasoning if you're making a lot of those things and doing a lot of cooking. And here it's just 2 bachelors, And we got all those seasonings. Heck, we got a seasoning rack that's 18 inches across and 18 inches tall with 36 bottles of seasoning full of all assorted seasonings, no duplicates in there at all. Plus one whole section of cupboard all the way from back to front. It's all seasonings and no chili seasoning. I've got enough taco seasoning to make tacos for the next 10 years. We got big containers of taco seasoning from a local pub that makes awesome tacos, and their seasoning is to die for, and you can buy it in bulk from them. So we got theirs, and we got one that's Old El Paso, a big container. We got an Ortega one. We got so much taco seasoning, it's insane. Well, hello, Rebecca Felter. It's great to see you, Rebecca. Thanks for coming over. It's great to see you. Oh. Have you ever used Watkins pepper? I don't know if I have or not, as I think about it. I'd be surprised if I haven't. I'd be surprised. Because right now, again, you go in there in our cupboard, there's probably 5 or 6 different brands and types of pepper. There's whole peppercorns with grinders. There's pre-ground peppers. Yeah. And I've got, regular table salt. I've got Himalayan salt. I've got probably 5 different types of salts also in the cupboard. I even have a hell salt that's just hotter than sin. If you salt something, I put a little bit of that salt on a steak, and it gives it just the right bite. I wish I could eat steak because I would use a little of that salt on it because it gives it a good bite. Yeah. Didn't know Watkins was still alive. Hey, Dojo. Oh, it's good to see you, bud. Hey, Running Water and I today were talking about you, brother. Yeah, we're playing PlayStation. I played it all night last night till 8 o'clock this morning. I feel like a moron. And then we played it all afternoon. We'll be playing it probably all day Tuesday. We're going to grind on Tuesday playing PlayStation. But the Dojo, we're looking at him, and I have very few friends on PlayStation, right? And we're looking at our friends lists on my TV and his. And I go, oh, check it out. There's my friends. And there you are. I said, I got Dojo friended on PlayStation 4. Can you believe that? I said, isn't that nuts? Dojo and Crazy Ann and E-Waste Mike. Yeah. YouTube buddies on my PlayStation. Yeah. That pink salt, that's pretty good, actually. I've got a big container of the pink sea salt. Yeah. It's pretty good. The Himalayan salts are good. Yeah. Oh, really? Menards is selling Watkins products, huh? I haven't been in a Menards for a while. Last time I was at a Menards, we were buying materials for this shed of Running Waters. Menards is a dangerous place. Walk in there with a budget and only enough plastic or cash with to cover what's on your shopping list. Man, I've walked in that place and spent $100, $200, $300 more than I ever planned on. Yeah, Menards can get me. Yeah, we're looking at that. When were our friends last on PlayStation? And we noticed that it says that it's been more than a month since you had been on there, or Phil, E-Waste Mike, and Ann. Of course, they've been on the last. Ann was on today, playing Call of Duty, and E-Waste Mike was on yesterday and the day before. He was playing Mine Station or Minecraft on PlayStation 4 for quite a while. Dean's going to take the chance by putting away the snowblower. Wishful thinking. Our snowblower's sitting out here covered. Don't touch it. Wishful thinking. Yeah. Yeah, Fleet Farm too, Justin. Fleet Farm and L&M Fleet Supply. Those three, they kill me. They kill me because we got Fleet Farm and L&M all in the same big shopping mall parking lot, right? All these other little stores there, but those are the two big box stores is Fleet Farm and L&M. And I could spend a whole afternoon just in that parking lot going back and forth those two stores. Yeah, love them places, man. Love them. Yeah, I just pray my health holds up because I'm looking forward to this summer getting the adventure trailer all tricked out the way I want it, be able to hook up and go camping for 2-3 days at a time, just on whims, whenever I want. I so much want to do that this summer. Yeah, Tractor Supply. Yeah. Tractor Supply. What a killer. Yeah. Yeah, some of those stores will just get you, man. They'll get you. If you like anything outdoorsy or just house repair or anything like that, lawn care, those stores will get you, man. You can't quit buying stuff. It's just. So how's the allotment going there, Dojo? I suppose you're getting ready for spring, man. Anybody that's not following Dojo's allotment specialist, go over and check his channel out. Follow him. Man, he's got a neat allotment there over there in England. He grows a lot there. I'm kind of jealous of what he's doing with his allotment. Oh, right out to the Little Bohemia Lodge. Yeah. Yeah. Go by there quite often each year. Yeah. Okay, Kathy. Yep. Take the puppy out for a potty run. Najrukui. Good to see you. Oh, a new video coming soon. Some new things happened on the allotment. That's cool. I'll be watching for it. You bet I will. I like, gosh, some of the veggies that he harvests out of his allotment, and yeah, that's one thing I'm doing. Is I'm just container gardening. A couple varieties of cherry tomatoes and maybe some green peppers, and I don't know for sure what I'm going to do, but it's going to be container gardening, and maybe put in a couple of flower beds. What the heck? Who's Ford? Mine's running like $1 million. Just had a starter go out on it. The starter solenoid, and otherwise it runs like $1 million. And no complaints from this old boy. That's a turnkey operation, that truck. I jump in there, boom, boom, fires right off. Off I go. I am so glad I bought that truck. There's things about it I wish were different. It's got rust going on it and stuff, but mechanically speaking, I'm not complaining. Oh, no. I put a lot of miles on that truck since I bought it, and I've had that truck for 3 years now, at least 3 years, and the only problem I've had with it is that starter. Well, and window actuators for putting the power windows up and down. I got 2 of them out, and they're less than $100 a piece. Installation's a pain in the neck. I replaced one on another door. Oh, is that a pain in the neck? Especially with a truck like that, with all of the speakers in the doors, all the electronics that are in the doors, and you got to pull that whole door panel off to get that window actuator in there. And it's a nightmare. Oh, and because they're heated, they've got the forced air vents that defrost your windows on the side windows. So it's got all of that, the hoses and blah, 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 to run air through the door and up through the sides to blow across the windows. You got to disconnect all that crap, take the door panel completely out of there, and you put the actuator in there, which is a bummer too. You can't hardly reach anything. Once you get it in, then you gotta, when you reassemble that door, you gotta, where the heck does that hook up? Yeah, you almost need a road map putting it back together. So it's kind of, yeah. Rebecca's going to watch some TV before she calls it a night. Well, thanks for stopping in, Rebecca. Oh, I'm so happy that you did. You take good care of yourself, too. Yeah. Got a 99 Power Stroke, won't die. I had it 22 years. There you go, buddy. Yeah. I had oh my gosh, what year was that? It was a 70, Lordy. I think it was a 78 3/4 ton that had the box removed and then put a flatbed, built up frame rails and a flatbed, stake side flatbed, beautiful flatbed on it. It was a sharp truck, had a lift kit in it, 4-wheel drive, decent meats on it, had a V8. That truck, when I got it, had 260,000 miles on it. When I got rid of it, it had 325,000 on it. And that was 11 years ago. And I still see that truck every once in a while driving through town. I love that truck, man. That was a great truck for pulling a trailer, going camping. With the stake sides, I could put a tarp over it. All my camp gear in there. There was a couple times I never even put a tent up. I just put tarp over that stake side with a couple of ridge poles, and I used the bed of that truck as my tent. Oh, I miss that. Yeah, Justin says, wait, I treat my Fords, I don't think they will die. That's me too. I'm real picky. When it comes to my vehicle, I'm real picky. I know every little sound, every little creak. I know if something's changing. I make sure it's got its maintenance routine. And the old straight sixes were bulletproof. Oh yeah, both Ford and GM. I had a 235 Chevy straight six, long stroker out of a truck. And we estimated that had about 390,000 miles on it. And it had never been rebuilt. And ran strong as ever. That was a tough old straight six. and Ford straight sixes. Jeez, I had a 1962 Ford Falcon. That was an ugly beast too. That motor came out of that Ford Falcon, went into another one, and it had 180,000 miles on it. When they took it out of the old Ford Falcon, put it in this other one, they drove that thing around for a few years. I don't even know how many miles they added to it. Then they took it all out. They took that motor out, and it's mounted in a big stern wheel paddle boat on the river on Mississippi, and it's running that damn boat. That motor was built in 1962, and it's running this brand new paddle boat. It's 40-foot long paddle boat, big old wheel on the back. And the 6-cylinder out of my old car is what's on that boat running it. It's pretty cool. Yeah. A lot of torque. Yeah. Yeah. That's one thing I liked about the Chevy 235 straight six. Put out a lot of torque. It was a long stroker, so it had a lot of good bottom end in it. Boy, that thing was, tough motor. But yeah, a lot. And I gotta say, the old Plymouth Slant 6, man, they were another motor that just couldn't be killed. I mean, those damn things held up to anything. That's what you bought somebody that didn't want to maintain their car, because that Slant 6 for some reason could just take the worst abuse. They didn't have the torque and the beefiness, as far as I'm concerned, as the Ford or the GM straight sixes. But for a medium-sized car, they were perfect. They were just perfect that Slant 6. Yeah. One motor that I just loved were my Gray Marines. I had a pair of flathead Gray Marine engines in my 28-foot Chris Craft Day Cruiser, and those old flathead Gray Marines, man, did they have a lot of hours on that pair, and they ran like $1,000,000. Gosh dang, those motors ran so good. Tough too, a lot of power. Heavy motor, but boy, they had the power. Big straight sixes. Buddy of mine, he had a 32-footer with a pair of straight eights, Gray Marine straight eights in them, and that thing had a lot of power too. A buddy of mine had an old, it was a Studebaker hearse. I mean, yeah, it was a dead man's car, that model was, you could buy it as a hearse or an ambulance. I guess they go together for some reason. You just paint one white, the other one black. I don't know. But those had straight eights in them. That was, yeah. Yep. Oh boy. It's hard to believe it. I don't know why tonight does not feel like a Sunday. It does not feel like a Sunday evening. Time's been odd around here, I guess. Dean saying, I miss boating, but didn't miss having to clean up the mess from everyone partying. Oh, yeah, ain't that the truth? Hey, you have a good night, Ingalls family. Bye-bye. You have a good one. Thanks for coming and hanging out. Yeah, my 28-foot Chris Craft was a day cruiser, had the forward cabin, and then the 2/3 of the boat was all open air, open deck, right? With the big horseshoe type wraparound bench seats all the way around. I could put, oh geez, I always had 10 to 15 people on board. And inside cabin, it's nice, pilot seat. Oh yeah, it was sweet boat. Forward head in the bow, had a head in it, you had a bathroom. And it was a party boat, is what it was. And I'd take that thing out after work at night. Well, we had a pizza joint on the lake, and I had a big ass pair of docks that went out, T-docks that went out. And the docks were big ones. They were 80 footers, a pair of them. And I kept the boat parked at those docks. And so the minute I come out of work, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, I jump on my boat and I go cruising the lake. We lived on a huge lake, had 486 shoreline miles. So there, yeah, you could boat all frickin' day and not even see half of that lake. So I go out cruising, and there's always somebody want to come with, And we'd be out on that boat till the sun come up, partying and drinking. And sure enough, man, I'd regret it. I'd regret it because I'd be scrambling hour before I had to work just to clean up the boat from the party and the night before. And I did it every day because we were out on the boat almost every night. Forgotten coolers, yeah. Ick, yeah. Yeah, a moonlight night cruise. Yeah, I loved them, man. I just loved them. Middle of the freaking night, the waters are calm and the moon's out, stars are out and reflecting off the water, and you just idle that big ass boat around the lake and just kick back and take it in, have a few cold ones. Just loved it. Some tunes turned up. Yeah. Oh, those were the days. My goodness. My goodness. I misses those days. Now I'm at the stage where I don't want to own the rig anymore. I don't want to be the captain anymore. I want to just get on board and ride. Yeah, go out there and do that with me along, That's Dean. Amen. Yeah. Deep Creek, Maryland? Don't know the area. Yeah. Yeah, that 28 footer that I had, that was a double hulled mahogany boat, teak decking, but otherwise the whole boat was in mahogany. And you talk about a lot of maintenance. That's a big wooden boat like that takes a lot of maintenance to keep it in primo shape. Yeah, a lake full moon and a case of beers. You betcha. I had many of those, man. Many of those nights. Yeah, many. My days off. We had a club right on the lake. You could pull in with your boat and park anywhere. They had a big, huge docking system there. And you could pull in, and they had out on this one dock, they had a big gazebo that was a bar. And they had waitresses that would come right to your boat, take your drink orders for you. It was pretty cool. Excuse me. Blew out a couple of freeze plugs one winter. Ugh, that's not good. Still having allergy issues because the cats that were in the house. Yeah, my big old boat, when it come out in the fall of the year, those motors got fully drained. I mean, all the fluids come out of water. Water, we would actually blow high pressure air through the system, blow all the water out, clean the whole motor out, drop all the oil out of it, and you get all fresh oil, all fresh fluids for the winter, fired up, run her for about 20 minutes, shut her down for the winter, and then all of the wood prep that needed touching up would get done. Then the whole boat would get tarped, racked and tarped. And then in the spring, because the boat would dry out over the winter, the wood would shrink from drying out. So in the spring, then I'd fill that boat above the water line, the outer water line of the boat, fill it, that whole boat full of water. And you sit there and you watch, and that boat would be leaking all over the place, all this water leaking out all over the place. And that's would be a week before launch. And on launch day, you could walk around that boat, run your hand on it anywhere, dry as a bone, still full of water, but it's dry as a bone. All that wood swelled up, sealed itself right up. Drain all the water out of it, turn the bilge pumps on, and let her dump herself out, drop her in the lake. Only reason the bilges would come on is from rainwater getting in the boat, because boy, the hull was just always tight as could be. Loved it. A lot of work though, a lot of work. Especially when you refinish it, you decide you're going to refinish all the decks, and you have to clean, sand, strip, sand, prep, and then seal all those teak decks. Oh, Lordy. Yeah. There's still a few of those taverns around that serve to-go drinks, getting hard to find now. Yeah, on that lake I was talking about. Dean's got to take off. You have a good one, Dean. It was great chatting with you tonight. But yeah, the lake I was talking about, you can't even consume liquor and operate the boat. And if they see anybody with alcohol coming on and off the boat, they'll stop and they'll actually make the operator of the boat use a breathalyzer, make sure that they're not intoxicated. Others can drink on the boat, but you can't. Boy, they make damn sure. If you're operating that boat, you better not have any alcohol in you. Hey, Dr. Smith, it's been a while. It's good to see you. It's great to see you. Hello, good sir. Call me sir. Yeah, a lot of things in the world have changed over the years. We really didn't have a lot of alcohol related incidents on the lake. But they made it same rules as you have for operating a motor vehicle. I worked with the Minnesota the Hennepin County Sheriff's Water Patrol. So I got to watch our guys on the water patrol jump in their boats, turn the siren and the lights on, and off they go because they got a report of somebody intoxicated running a boat. Off they go. Or somebody flying through one of the channels where there's no wake, and off they go. They're cop boats, they're police boats. They got the big sheriff's badge on the side of the boat. I was in the search and recover unit. We went out to find and recover victims of drownings. So there was a boat accident or somebody drowned at a beach or something, and they didn't find the bodies or body, then we were the ones called out, and we went. It was a scuba diving team is what we were. We'd go out and we'd search and recover people that were lost on the water. Dr. Smith, I never liked drinking on the water, but I'll smoke some doobies. Yeah. I had a buddy, a scuba diving buddy that, he drove me nuts. I got to the point where I wouldn't dive with him anymore because he'd drink like a doggone fish before we go diving. He'd be half intoxicated by the time we get in the water. And I mean, every time he come up in the air, he's got to have a beer at his lips, And I told some of the dives we did, I told him, I says, I can't have you down there intoxicated, but he just it never registered to him how risky he was making things, And let's go diving for the day. We did ice diving in the winter. We cut a big hole in the ice with an ice shack over it, and you dive under the ice. And he'd be intoxicated doing that. And finally, it got to the point where I said, no, if you're going to be drinking out on the water, I don't want to be with you, man. Because he just didn't really control it, I told him, I said, we can dive for the afternoon. And when we're done diving, we can put one on, but not while we're diving. No. Yeah, Justin Anderson, don't drink and dive. Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that lake that I grew up on, that I did all that diving, and we did all of the boating, just lived on the lake constantly. Yeah, it's at the point now where the lake is literally like driving down this road. The alcohol rules, the right-of-way rules, snowmobiling. You got boats that are squad cars. They got the police emblem and everything on them. And you got snowmobiles with the red lights and the blue lights and the sheriff's emblem on each side of the snowmobile. They're out there patrolling just like they are the streets. Now, our ATV trails have unmarked sheriffs running those ATV trails on pretty hyped up UTVs, all the radio gear, everything on board, their shotgun mount, and they're off and they're patrolling those UTV trails, and they're stopping UTVers. If they see some UTVer with a beer in his hand driving on the trail, they pull that sucker over and they do a breathalyzer and they charge him with open container and they confiscate his rig and give him a DUI just like he was driving down the road. Yeah, things have really changed. They have really changed. And I can see why on the UTV trails. Oh my gosh. I saw a couple last summer that, heck, I told the one deputy sheriff, I said, you ought to give him a ticket for drunk walking, that guy. If he can stand up to walk. And he's on the trail driving his UTV around, drunker than sin. Say, oh man, that's crazy. He'll run somebody over, hit another UTVer or hit a hiker. I mean, yeah. Oh, he was happy. Oh, yeah. What's the big deal? I'm just having a few beers. The whole back of his UTV is full of empty beer cans. He had been drinking all damn day. And he wouldn't get out of it to get up and walk somewhere. I mean, he was that drunk. Yeah. Justin says DNR getting sneaky here in Minnesota. They were plain clothes and use unmarked snowmobiles. Yeah. We've got some that do that here. Unmarked sleds. Yeah. The DNR. Yeah. Not the sheriff's department, but the DNR. Sheriff's department, they're allowed to operate their UTVs unmarked, but they have to be in full uniform. And which is I'm okay with, because if they get close enough, you can see the rig and you can see the driver. You can tell that, oh, that's a deputy sheriff running that thing. You know, you can see his big old patches, and yeah, you can tell it's a deputy, but not the DNR. Plain clothes. They just look like they're out there on sleds like anybody else, snowmobiling away. But oh no. Hey, Killer Creations, it is good to see you. Good to see you. We're going to be wrapping it up here in a little bit. Get a couple hours in on the stream tonight. But I'm glad you popped in. It's great to see you. Great to see you. Yeah, Minnesota. Oh my gosh. Born and raised in the state of Minnesota. Yeah. A lot of backcountry stuff over my years up there in northern Minnesota. I miss it. I was looking at it, and I'm looking at my budget and seeing if I can put enough together. If I can get enough together, I'm going to go spend a week at a resort up in Boundary Waters that my family's been going to since 1947. Well, my father's been going there since 1936, but as a family, we've been going to that resort since 1947. And it's a semi-primitive resort. Beautiful stone and log cottages. They got electricity and running water. It's cold artesian well water. That's what the running water is. And only 4 of their 25 cottages actually have sink drains that go out, right? Otherwise, the running water is just a turn faucet on the wall with a big metal wash pan kind of affair under it. And you fling that water out, go out the front door, fling it outside the cabin. Electricity is for the lights and the refrigerator. Otherwise, if you bring a radio you plug in, or your laptop or whatever. Otherwise, the only thing electricity in the cottage runs is the lights and the refrigerator. Propane stove with oven and a fireplace with a wood stove insert is all those cottages have. You got to warm them up with wood. And then outhouses. There's no indoor bathrooms. There's outhouses, and very, very rustic. Beautiful though. Every cottage is on the lake, right on the water's edge. You can pull a canoe up, or some of them have docks. You can dock a boat. Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. And I was looking, I can get one of their cottages for about $300 for a week. One of their small cottages. And I'm thinking, yeah, I might put the budget together and just go up there and just spend a relaxing week and rent a boat for the week instead of hauling my own up there. Great lake for fishing for walleyes, northerns, lake trout. Yeah. Probably be the last trip I ever make to that resort, you know. So it's real tempting to set the budget aside for that. I haven't been up there for about 10 years now. But I know the owners and stay in touch with them. And they're kind of laughing. I was talking to them just last month, early part of February, and they said, "You'd be surprised, Sty." And I said, "Oh, what's changed?" And they said, "No, you'd be surprised. Nothing's changed." They said it's still the same old resort. They said you'd be hard pressed to find anything that has changed since you've been here 10 years ago. I said, that's cool. That's what I like hearing that. Yeah. Yeah, Justin, I've never had a bad trip when I've gone to that place. Never once in my whole life have I had a bad trip there. Every time I come home, just wishing I could just live there, just live in that cottage, one of their cottages. And they've got little one-room cottages. It's just a single room, all the way up to the one we stayed in because I took a couple grandkids with, took my one son with, and that one had 4 bedrooms in it, plus in the big living room, dining room combination area, it had 2 big fold-out couches. And I think that place said that it could handle up to, it was 10 or 12 people. And big, huge, all log except the lower floor was all hand-laid stone, native stone. Big stone fireplace. Kitchen was so rustic and neat and had a huge, huge table with old rustic chairs. You walked out the door and the water was only about 15, 20 feet from their front door. It was a beautiful cottage. That one's a little spendy though. That's $650 a week on the off season. During peak season, it's $900 a week. But I could see why. It was a big 2-story building, you know, beautiful house. Not too many places like that out there that are semi-rustic with really, really beautiful, quaint cottages like that. They've got beautiful honeymooner's cottage out on a point. Sits out there all by itself. Got its own dock and swimming area. And it's one room. But it's all stone except for the roof, and the big beams up in the roof are log. Otherwise, it's all stone. Beautiful. If you stayed in that cottage, the ex-wife and I stayed in it a couple times. You stay in it in July or August, hottest, most humid days of the year. And then inside that cottage, because it's all stone, nice and cool and comfortable. Oh, God, that place was neat. Yeah. Well, guys, I'll tell you what, we're going to wrap it up. We've been going for 2 hours. We're going to wrap it up. Sty's going to go try to rub something on this elbow to see if I can get it to quit aching after falling yesterday. That stinking right arm's just screaming at me. And take a couple ibuprofen, rub something on there, pain relief. Yeah. Kind of make my evening a little smoother. But hey, I'm going to exit tonight showing off my channel members. I'm going to do that because I didn't show them off during the stream. And hey, if you're available, I'll tell you what, tomorrow night, Sty Times, 5 p.m. Central Time. Hope to see you there. Yeah, we'll have another good topic. Hey, I want you all to take good care of yourselves. Sty loves you. And you all hang tight. Life will treat you right sooner or later. It always does. Take good care of yourselves. Bye-bye.